It's a nice day, huh?
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
You got the right idea with that umbrella.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Canada in February. Friendly as always. It's snowing and we're looking at a beach cruiser from the Electric Bike Company. These guys are out of Newport Beach, so anytime I feel a little cold and dreary, I hop on one of these things and it brightens my day up. And actually it's working great. I'm not getting wet because it's got the optional fenders here, upgrades, actually wood, as well as a wood chain cover. Just looks beautiful. It ties into the grips and the saddle. Doesn't match perfectly, but it's $16.99 USD. I feel like it's a great value. I've reviewed the Model Y, which is a very similar product to this. It just has slightly larger wheels. So instead of 24-inch here, it has 26. So with that larger diameter, you end up with a lower attack angle, a little bit more air volume, some comfort. It raises the frame a little bit, so the standover height is slightly higher, the minimum saddle height. Everything just lifted up a bit, and also the length. So the reason the Model M is so cool, which stands for mini, is that it's just more approachable. So if you're someone who's a bit petite and you feel like, yeah, I want to keep that weight low and I want to be able to stand over this thing and handle it, really solid feeling, the M is going to be a great choice for you. You know, the weight distribution on this bike isn't perfect because they've got the battery mounted kind of semi-permanently in this front basket, so that raises the weight. You ideally want all the weight low and center on the frame. Well, they've kind of distributed it here because we have a hub motor in the rear, so you got a little bit of weight in the back, a little bit up front. It's high, which you really don't want, but at the same time, it's like this is a really practical, functional basket, and it makes the frame look beautiful. This is a wave step-through, and it's using double tube design, so it reduces frame flex a little bit, but it's still a little bit of flex going on here, and in some ways that creates a little bit of dampening and comfort. You can see the handlebar here is extra wide, it's swept back. This is a classic cruiser handlebar, steel, so it also has some vibration dampening qualities to it. This frame, the fact that they've like really honed it in, and then they're really just changing a few little things between the Model M and you know, the Model Y, the slightly larger one with the larger wheels. They also have another one, it's like the Model X, which is sort of a high step, maybe more masculine. It's definitely going to raise that standover height. It's just neat. I really think this company is doing something special. They give you a lot of options to customize things and dial it in. So again, $16.99, but it only comes in white, and it wouldn't have this rear rack, and it wouldn't have the fenders. This is a single-speed drivetrain, but they also have a 7-speed drivetrain, so you can upgrade there. A bunch of different options. They have like a little cup holder option, which sort of swivels and keeps it right side up, because you'll notice there aren't any bottle cage bosses on this, and you could put a little trunk bag back here, a little holster. But, you know, it's nice to have the drink where you can reach it. They have a little Bluetooth speaker, whole bunch of cool things. But you can start to spend a lot of money when you add those options, including the custom paint, which we see here, this nice sky blue, which the fork is also matched to that. They do have a suspension fork upgrade as well, which is awesome for me because I like that comfort. But coming back to like, what's this bike priced at right here? $28.34 USD. So that's a significant upgrade in terms of price from $16.99, but I mean, look at it. This thing is beautiful. I love this bike. I mean, it's just, you can't help but not appreciate the quality here. I mean, this is real wood. These fenders are pretty thick. They don't rattle a whole lot. They're actually working really well. They provide good coverage. Same thing with the chain cover. I actually like these more than the optional steel fenders. They're also fairly quiet, and they have some mud flaps at the bottom versus this sort of hard endpoint. And the reason I bring that up is because if you go off curbs and stuff, or you're walking your bike around, you can strike the end of this and it could get, you know, kind of ratted up over time or just bumped around. Really nice, solid struts here. They aren't the ones that have the adjustable points that are poking out and can scratch you. They're curved and they're recessed really nicely. I mean, it's a fantastic piece of work that they do here. I think they do those in-house as well as the painting and stuff. So you can see that in addition to the frame and the fork, which is also steel, they've got this inner basket liner that's also blue, and then the external part that's sort of really sturdy where they've got the headlight mounted and their nice little logo up front. Now that's white, so you get this really cool look, and that's aluminum up there. So this is, in my opinion, I feel like this could get scratched and stuff over time. It's nice to have something that's a little bit lighter weight and isn't going to rust. Okay, so I'm really trying to point out like what's steel. Handlebars, fork, the optional fenders, and chain cover. But again, the wood, that's not going to have that rust issue. And then back here, we've got an aluminum alloy rack. It is MIK compatible, so you have some bags and things that can clip right on. But if you don't do that, they've got some little, almost, it's not really a loop, but it's a little clasp area where you could use a bungee cord and do like a basket, or just the trunk bag or the panniers, standard gauge tubing here. And then it comes with this rear light. If you don't get this rear rack, you still get these lights right here, and each one has like 3 LEDs, really bright, highly visible from multiple angles. So I guess I want to jump back in and talk a little bit about the hardware. There's so much to appreciate on these bikes, and I've looked at them several times. It feels kind of like the same bike, but each time I look, my appreciation sort of grows because of how just the choices they've made. It's tough to build a frame where the wires and stuff are routed so nicely, but still accessible. So if you need to do a repair or something, a lot of these parts are modular, and then they go internally routed right here. So they're going to stay out of the way, and they give you that nice, beautiful look with the paint job and everything. We got this adjustable kickstand, and I complain about this every time, but it does create pedal lock if you back the bike up or you just spin the cranks back like that. Not the end of the world. You know, you could mount the kickstand back here, but it gets a little bit crowded, and you know, I guess it's back to the weight distribution. Remember, this is kind of heavy, and you've definitely got the battery up here on that front basket. So I can see why they do this. They've watched my reviews. I give them feedback and stuff. And again, it's one of the minor complaints. The frame being a little bit heavier. On their website, they say 57 pounds. I weighed this one at 63 pounds because we do have some of the upgrades, the rack, the fenders, some of these other things. And with additional weight, it's important to be able to stop, of course. And one of the big upgrades that they do just include stock are these quad piston hydraulic disc brakes with 180 millimeter rotors. I mean, that's a big rotor. Quad piston, that gives you more surface area. It's just going to give you more power for stopping, especially on 24-inch wheels. These are 3-finger levers. They got the ball end, so you know you're gonna get poked by that. You're not gonna slip off as easily. Tektro, they have motor inhibitors, so whenever you pull the brakes, not only are you giving the brake that physical stop, but you're telling the motor to cut out as well, so you won't be fighting it. And this is a powerful motor. This is a 500 watt nominal, 1000 watt peak rated MXUS planetary geared hub motor. Silver, looks nice with these 12 gauge spokes and these custom rims. And that motor puts out up to 60 Newton meters of torque. It's a nice setup, and it's quite impressive when you actually ride on this thing. You're getting a mechanical advantage, just like the disc brake is with a smaller wheel. The motor's also getting a mechanical advantage because it doesn't have to turn this really wide wheel. It's smaller. It's a good climber is what I'm trying to say. So to me, that was pretty impressive because the bike offers pedal assist and throttle. And sometimes when you start with a throttle from standstill, if you have a big wheel or a weaker motor, you're just not going to get the same kind of oomph when you get going. But this one really does a good job. And again, this is the single speed drivetrain. You don't have a derailleur hanging down that could get kicked and go out of tune over time. It's really simple. The chain doesn't even bounce around a whole lot, but you're not able to switch gears and empower yourself for climbing or change that cadence once you get up to the higher speeds. So it's really a trade-off. I mean, to me, this is a relaxed kind of neighborhood cruiser setup, and it works fine. It's a little bit of a slow cadence for me. I prefer to spin a little bit faster, more actively, but I guess a lot of people like that slower cadence. Coming back to the option, if you do pay a little bit more, you get a 14 to 28 tooth, 7-speed freewheel, not a cassette. And it's Shimano Altus. I think it's, you know, one step up from the base level. It's not the widest range of gears, and it's just kind of a, you know, check the box drivetrain, but it is nice to have that option, you know, and they built the frame so that they can just bolt that right on. Everything works fine. I've tested it on some of their other bikes, and I was pretty impressed. 170 millimeter crank arms with these nice aluminum alloy platform pedals with the rubberized tread instead of the spikes. So again, this is a little bit more casual setup. It's wide, it provides good traction, maybe not as good as spikes, but if you slip off, you're not going to cut your shin on these. And these are Welgo, really nicely done. And then see back there's that little black thing. That is a cadence sensor. It's an internally kind of like sealed cadence sensor versus the older ones where you'd see these magnetic dots that could get coated with mud and kind of bumped out of position. That's my favorite, and most companies are using this now, but it's sealed, 12 magnet, very responsive. They've done a good job on that. Coming back to the wires and stuff, you can see how they come right out of this kind of expanded seat tube right here, and then they run back here onto that rack. So if we didn't have this rack, you wouldn't have this extra wire and stuff here. You'd just have that rear fender. You'd have these lights, which to me, again, are really well done. It's nice to have lights up high, and really this is probably more ideal, but the fact that they just kind of went overboard with the lights is a good thing, and that's a nice upgrade, especially on the Model M, because the tires aren't quite as nice. You'll notice these don't have the reflective sidewall stripe like the Model Y. They don't have like puncture protection rating that I can see. They do look fairly thick, and they've got that nice kind of an all-around hybrid tread. These are Duro nylon tires, 24 by 2.125. So, you know, like, there's not a lot to compare these to because this is an uncommon wheel size. I just don't see it a whole lot, you know? Most of the time you go from like 20-inch wheels on a folding bike or kid's bike up to 26. So 24 is a really, it's nice that they do this. It comes back to sort of the custom heritage of this company. Everything they do can kind of be refined, and they'll talk to you, and they'll, you know, take your phone calls. You can sometimes talk to the CEO, Sean. He's a really good guy. He's been doing this for a long time, and they assemble a lot of this stuff right there in Newport Beach, in their warehouses. They hire locally. So back to these touch points and stuff. I like how comfortable these grips are. They're locking. This seat here, pretty comfortable, you know? It's got their little branding on it and stuff. It's got the rubber bumpers. It's wide. It's a really relaxed kind of an upright seating position when you look how the handlebars come back to you, and the pedals seem a little bit further forward, so you can put your feet down, and then when you start pedaling, you just kind of lift them up like you're sitting on a lazy boy or something, and then you got that upright body position so you can spot traffic, talk to your friends, those kinds of things. You know, the suspension fork upgrade is nice. It costs a little bit more. Another upgrade you can do is the seat post. So this is a rigid seat post right here. I'm just gonna pull this out. It's about 350 millimeters long, and it's 30.4 millimeters diameter. You could replace this with a suspension seat post, but notice how the clamp is set up right there. So they're using like, they got a couple nuts on there, and it's sort of a tapered top. You know, I think you just want to be careful with that when you get a seat post. The clamp might have to be adjusted a little bit to work with this saddle. It's something that I like to do a lot, get that nice, comfortable, kind of a bouncy feel sometimes. But the saddle, you don't have to. I mean, that's a pretty good saddle. If you're just cruising around neighborhoods like I am, it's going to feel really comfortable as is. And just look how low that thing goes. I mean, the way that they position the rack and everything, they're not colliding. You can get that all the way down to the bottom. Back at the side, I've listed the minimum saddle height, which is very low. It's like the lowest I've seen. So again, you can sit on this thing and easily put your feet down. Most people, even petite people, this bike's going to be one of the most approachable. If you're going through a tight space, do be careful. You know, the handlebars are going to force you to have some clearance up front. But back here, see how the motor cable protrudes a little bit, and there isn't like a derailleur guard or something. If you get that snagged or broken, that could kind of wreck the motor. And another thing is, even though this has smaller wheels, the bike is still kind of long. The wheelbase isn't any different than the Model Y, and it actually had trouble fitting on my car rack. So I took this thing and I had to just tighten it down a little bit extra and use some bungee cords because it was hanging off the back, and it kind of threw me for a loop at first. I guess maybe it's the higher attack angle on the wheels, and it kind of moved the whole thing back. I have the Kuat Sherpa rack, and it works for almost every bike that I've done reviews for recently, including fat tire bikes and stuff. And this was one of the few bikes that I was actually kind of concerned just because of the way it sits, and you can see in the picture there. Okay guys, I met some friendly neighbors. They got some rad bikes from the website, and it sounds like you're enjoying them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then I asked Carolyn, I said, I love your hats, and I wonder if you want to give this thing a spin and give me your feedback.
Sure.
So let's boot it up. First of all, there's a switch down here, which is already in the on position, and that enables the battery. And then over here, you just hold the power button in the center. It's a color display, and yeah, it's a little bit wet, kind of hard to see right now. Up or down to raise or lower the assist. You got your throttle. It's probably very similar to your rad bikes.
How many assist levels?
I think there's 5. So yeah, you can go up to 5.
Okay.
And the higher you go, the more throttle you're going to get. So the throttle's kind of limited by the level of assist. Okay, you can change that in the settings, but as is, I just wanted to give it to you. You can, we can stow the kickstand here for you. There we go.
Lower the seat cross.
I don't know.
Yeah, you feel free to mess with it. It might need to go down a little bit. Are you?
Yeah, I think it's too tall for you. Yeah, hold on there.
Got some teamwork happening here. Look at that. It's Valentine's Day, so you guys are out on a nice little walk, huh?
Maybe I'll get down on the road.
That's a good idea. And we got, you know, no cars or anything. Carolyn, I'm also going to enable the lights here just so we're extra safe. And to do that, we're just going to press the up button over there, and then it gives a little light icon. The headlight doesn't point where you steer, but it's still fairly visible. And there's those 2 rear lights that I really like.
Oh yeah.
There she goes. So how long have you guys had your rad bikes?
A year and a half.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You using them?
Not right now.
Because of the snow. Yeah.
Too cold.
That's the thing. Even with the gloves and, you know, with the helmet, doesn't really keep my head that warm.
No.
That's great.
I wear one of these toques under the helmet when I go out, but it's just too cold right now.
Yeah. Got to take your break. I'm trying to get out here and do these reviews even in the cold, but it's like I have to take these breaks. And
Well, today isn't bad though.
you know, when it snows, I think the temperature actually like goes up a little bit.
Feels better.
It's a phase change going on. Here she comes. So this is a single speed. This bike doesn't have gears. You guys probably have a 7-speed,
Yeah,
right?
7 speeds, yeah.
Okay. Do you shift gears quite a bit when you're riding?
Yep.
Okay. They do offer an upgrade on this, and that's one of the things I would probably consider.
So I try and stay in first assist and then use the gears
That's a great, yeah.
till you get to a hill.
Woohoo! You turn the lights off, huh?
Oh, well, how do you get the power? What's the... It says PAS off here.
Oh, you know what? So that's another thing. We hold the down button for a second, and then pedal assist would come back on. So maybe you can try it now. That's
I'm going like, yeah, it's not doing anything.
Yeah, they only let you use the throttle by default. That's one of the little things, the way they ship this. It would be kind of nice if pedal assist was enabled by default, but there she goes. It's kicking off a little bit easier. Now she's getting it. She's gonna climb that hill.
Use your throttle. There she goes.
She's off on an adventure.
She's big on the throttle.
She likes that.
Oh. Well, before you ride maybe 2 kilometers, we have other bikes out. We have a place out at Harrison.
Oh, hot springs?
And it's flat, yeah.
Yeah.
It's flat, so that's great. But if we went any longer,
Woohoo! She's a speedster now.
that's what I mean. Now we can go 20, 25K and there's no issue.
Do you take the bikes up there then to the
Yeah, we
Harrison?
take them up in the summer. We keep them here in the winter.
Cool. Very cool. Do you ever do the waterfall hike there at Bridal Falls?
No, we haven't done that. We've done the hike though on the falls that are on the lake.
Oh.
You have to go by boat and then hike in.
Oh, hey, no boat. If you want to bring me someday, just let me know. That sounds pretty
That's how we get in there.
pretty nice.
It is a nice hike.
No, here we go. Good job, Carolyn. We got the cool shot here. Oh yeah. What do you think?
Oh, that's fun.
It's fun. That one of the big
Need goggles in this weather, but
yeah, that's right. You're probably getting snow in your face. How did the brakes feel? Because compared to the Rad, this one has hydraulic disc brakes. Yours has mechanical. Did they feel different?
you know what? I didn't notice it. You gonna try it? I didn't.
You want to go
notice the
for
bikes.
it?
Well, let me take a little spin. I just gotta raise the seat. You wanna hold the front prop?
Yeah, sure. Here, I'll help you out too. So what's your husband's name here?
Jack.
Jack.
I didn't notice the brakes that much different.
He was giving me the rundown while you were out there.
Wow,
Do you want me to hold? Yay, there we go. Look at that. Found a use for the basket.
The basket doesn't go at the front. So
It doesn't, no. So they
do you
frame
mean?
mounted this
Yeah.
so that it's a little sturdier.
Yeah.
It can handle more weight. This bike can handle up to 350 pounds, which is pretty impressive.
That is.
But no, the basket doesn't turn when you turn. It's a little bit funky. Takes a bit of getting used to.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Seat's comfortable.
Yeah, I was just thinking that same thing. Sometimes I recommend like a seat post suspension, but with this saddle,
Yeah.
it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Jack put a seat post suspension on his,
Oh yeah,
but I don't have it on mine. We just changed the seat out for a more comfy seat.
good call. Yeah, when you ride a ways, especially if you do any gravel,
Yeah.
you kind of feel it.
Yeah.
Here he goes. He's getting some higher speed. Now, did you miss the gears? Because this bike is just a single speed. There are no shifters on this one.
Well, no, not in here. I didn't for sure.
Just kind of went with it. Did
Yeah.
the throttle feel pretty peppy?
Yes, the throttle was good.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was nice, and it looks nice too. It's a nice looking bike.
I like that. They do the custom colors, and so you pay a little bit extra, but then you can kind of match it to your getup. You actually matched it just perfect. Here he comes.
So they're selling it in Oregon?
They ship them all over, but they're based in Newport Beach, California.
Oh, okay.
What's the verdict?
That's a nice little bike.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Kinda
Brakes are
fun.
good.
How much is it?
$16.99 in white with no rear rack or fenders, but this one's $2,800 US because of all the fancy upgrades. Ooh.
It needs gears.
Yeah, that's one of the upgrades that I like
I guess
as well.
if you had to go up the hill, yeah, you'd want gears.
Yeah.
You would.
Because what's the motor on it?
This one's 500 watt
500
nominal,
watt.
and then they say it peaks at 1,000. And your rad bikes are like 750. They don't really tell you a range.
The rad's lucky to be 500.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Well, how does it compare? You
This
got
is more powerful.
This is more powerful. Okay. Thanks for the honest feedback there. Anything else you want to disclose here? You got a lot of exposure.
The brakes, I didn't notice the brakes.
Just a little bit. I'd put the handlebars up higher because that's a nice riding position. I have the Rad City, and Carolyn has the Rad City step-thru, and her handlebars are more like that. Where mine are more. So I'm gonna have to buy an extender on there. The other thing I did on the Rad bike is I put a bum buster in, right?
Oh, thud buster thing, huh?
Yeah, because of the we did trail rides on the Kettle Valley and stuff, and it hurts if you don't have something in there because there's no shocks in these things, right?
That's right.
The Rad has shocks in the front. This one doesn't.
And you can upgrade that too, but back to the price. You know, you start to add to the because your bike was, I think it's like 1,500 American and
It's 2,000
Canadian.
1,900 each.
Mary,
with this,
Mary might like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna like sell the bike after I'm done reviewing it. If you got a
really?
friend, yeah, I'll give you like a really good deal. I just send the money back to the company. So
Yeah.
they ship me the stuff. I try to give an honest feedback, and you guys have been so helpful. I really appreciate it. Thank you for doing the ride. I'm glad that guy was speeding down the street. I was a little worried.
That's okay. He's driving a Jag. He could afford it. He hit us.
He's got good brakes, right? Oh, and that's true. He's got the insurance probably.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this?
No, it's a nice looking bike.
Thank you so much. I really
Thanks for the
appreciate
test
it. Yeah.
It's been a while since we've been out in ours. We kind of put them away for the winter.
Well, I was
so.
out on ours 2 weeks ago when it was about 9 above out, so it was nice.
Hey,
It was a
cool.
good ride. It was sunny.
Keep them going.
Well, but as you know, it's hilly around here. You come down the hills and you're doing 35, 40K.
You really can get going. Yeah, and the hand things, they've got these bar end covers that are neoprene that they like stay on your handlebar and you just put your hand in there. They're kind of a cool accessory.
Well, I did worked in China a fair bit, and they a lot of their bikes come with built-in hands.
That's what I think I'm talking. Yeah, and you like put your hand in there.
Keep your hand in there. They also they have the coats. Well, they wear the coats backwards, but they have the hand covers, right? Because it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold in these bikes.
So one of the other things we haven't really taled about here, I'm glad that it felt like it handled well because the battery on your bikes is lower.
Yeah.
This is higher, and you can kind of get the frame flex and a little bit of.
Where is the batteries inside?
That's it. It's like this brick.
It's in there.
Yeah, that's a little weight. So the thing about this battery is you can't take it off the bike, really. It's there. And so to charge it, you need to get close to a charging outlet, and the charger cord isn't really that long. And then if it's really cold or really hot, that's hard on the battery cells. And so it's like you kind of need to have a place to park this bike that's maybe inside. And so, you know, it's a little trade-off to think
We have
about.
our batteries off inside in our bedroom right now.
That's what you guys do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
under the dresser during the winter.
Bikes are out. You keep the bikes
In the
covered
garage,
anyway.
but the batteries are inside.
Yeah, well, I mentioned that because sometimes people commute to work and it's like, oh, I'm going to top off my battery.
Yeah.
And then with this one, you need a plug at the bike rack, which is kind of uncommon.
Or a really long extension cord.
It's huge. Off to the office. That's awesome, you guys. Well, thank you again. This totally made my day.
All right, thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day. And this is the charger. It's actually pretty good. It's got a fuse built into one end. It's 3.5 to 4 amps, which is a lot higher than the standard 2 amp charger you get with a lot of other e-bikes. It does weigh a bit more, 1.8 pounds. It's a little bit bulkier, but at least the wall side unplugs, so it's not quite as long. Yeah, to me this is a good charger because, you know, the default is a 504 watt hour battery for the Model M, but you can upgrade and get like a 960 watt hour if you get that 20 amp hour battery pack. So having a faster charger, that means 3.5 to 6 hours, depending on the battery size that you choose. It's just gonna get the job done, and it's a nicer upgrade. You also get this nice manual, and then there's a little toolkit with some snippers and Allen keys that help you to tighten and adjust the handlebars and stuff when you get it. But otherwise, I mean, the bike is pretty much ready to ride. We could see Carolyn struggling a little bit after she came back on a ride test because pedal assist wasn't enabled by default. You actually have to hold the down arrow for a couple seconds to activate pedal assist. Otherwise, it's just a throttle only bike, which is simple and kind of intuitive to people, but you know, there really isn't like a guide. The buttons here aren't labeled super well, so whether it's enabling the lights by holding the up arrow or sort of changing between pedal assist and no pedal assist by holding the down arrow, there's also no walk mode in this. And I want to just touch on some other things that came to mind while we were doing our little ride test. These handlebars are a bit wide, so if you have to go through a door frequently, say to charge it, that can be a little bit inconvenient. And I noticed that I hit the ball ends a little bit. You can leave marks on the door, so that's a trade-off. When the bike came, I definitely had to tighten that adjustable stem. If it's not tight, you can kind of get this like wobble motion happening, and over time it can chew through the teeth, so just keep an eye on that. I also tightened the top right here so that it wouldn't kind of slip side to side. Same thing with the seat collar. I just think they all need to be a little bit tighter because you got this big saddle and there's a lot of kind of leverage, you know, back to the handlebars. There's a lot going on here, so I made sure I tightened those before the ride test. The display was a little bit tricky to see. It is kind of bright out. The color's neat, but in some ways the grayscale of some of their older displays worked pretty well, and it was a little bit more visible sometimes. And down here we've got a USB charging port, which is super cool. It's like 5 amp, full size USB Type A, so you could charge your phone or that optional Bluetooth speaker I was talking about before. It's a really nice upgrade that they've got. Not every display has something like that, so you know, being able to tap into it and maybe use it for GPS on your phone or the music or whatever is really fun, especially because the battery options are quite high in terms of capacity. We got the 48 volt 10.5 amp hour standard pack right here, but you can spend a little bit more and get a 20 amp hour, and that's what gets you the 960 watt hour, just super high capacity, which is great if you are using that throttle quite a bit. It's a powerful motor, you know, it draws from that battery, so it's nice to have some upgrade options available. And now I'm going to walk you through the display just a little bit more thoroughly than before. This bike does have an optional, it's like an alarm system. It's this wireless beeper thing, like bloop bloop, and it's really cool. I actually tested it on some of the other reviews. You can go check them out if you want to, but I just haven't seen too many bikes that have this, and it detects if the bike's moving or not, and it's just another added level of security if you're parked at a bike rack. With the seat clamp and then the front wheel, they do have quick release, and this is just a 9mm skewer up front, 100mm hub spacing, 135 in the rear, and then we've got kind of a, you know, this is like the 12mm slotted axle with the nuts and stuff, pretty standard. The point I'm trying to make is if you're locked to a rack, you know, make sure you're kind of locking these touch points and that front wheel if it's for an extended period of time, or get that alarm system and it's going to send a siren and alert people that someone's doing something maybe they shouldn't. And you know, having this double tube design is going to make it a little bit easier to lock the frame as well. So now I want to jump into the display here with you. To boot it up, first you have to click that to the on position, which is a nice little kind of a kill switch. So if you're at a bike rack, you don't want someone tampering with this, you could just turn it off down there and they might miss that. So once that's turned on, we'll hold the power button for a second here. Boots up pretty quickly. It says Electric Bike Company, and then here's our color display. It's pretty straightforward. We got 4 bars on the battery infographic, so 25% steps. It'd be nice if that was a little bit more precise, maybe like 10 bars or an actual percentage readout. That'd be really good. And we have a voltage here, so you can, over time, you can kind of learn what the voltage mean, and as the voltage drops, you're going to see the battery capacity dropping. We got temperature outside, 39 degrees, pedal assist. See how it says pass off? So that means we're only option to move right now is use the throttle or pedal. And with a single gear, I mean, it's going to be hard to pedal. So to change this to enable pedal assist, that's where we hold the down arrow for a second. And there we go. That disappears. Now we got pedal assist active. We're in pedal assist level 1. We can take it down to 0, and the throttle doesn't work. Nothing works. It's just a bike with a headlight. And if we want to turn on that headlight and the rear light, we just hold the up arrow for a second. And there it is. There's those really cool side lights. The blinking rear light spinning the solo. And then the headlight, which is, it's pretty nice. You know, this is like the Blaze Light BL3002. It's got a couple LEDs, nice wide beam, but it's not like you can angle it down. And again, it doesn't point where you steer because it's mounted to that basket, and that gives the basket extra strength. But it's a trade-off in terms of like the light pointing. I thought it might be kind of cool to have a light up here, but then you're kind of blocked by the basket, especially if you load it up. So I think they're doing the best they can, and the aesthetics of the basket with the battery up there is pretty good. We got current speed in miles per hour right there, and then timers, distance, odometer down here. If you want, you can cycle from the current speed by pressing that power button over here, and you'll get your average speed and your max speed. So 30.9 miles per hour. Man, that must have been Jack earlier, like cruising down one of the hills or something. It's a neat display, and there's actually a lot of adjustability in the settings. And to get to those, what you have to do is like power the bike down, power it back up, and then hold up and down simultaneously. And when you do that, you get to this menu with tons of readouts. A lot of them are just, they're kind of extraneous. I don't really feel like they were useful, but I made a guide. I created this like chart that shows which ones of these settings are probably the most useful and what the different numbers mean, and I'm hopefully doing a little overlay of that. That image is also back at the site ElectricBikeReview.com, so you can get that and take a look, along with the length, the width, the height, all the other dimensions that I measure by hand, just to try to help you guys out and determine whether you want this one or the Model Y or some other bike. There's a comparison tool, there are forums. I'm really trying to be transparent and help you, figure out the right bike. So with that said, I'm going to exit this by holding the power button, hop on, and take my own little test ride. Before I do, I shake it a little bit. You can see a little bit of bounce at the end, and that's just the frame flex stuff that I was talking about. Oh yeah, wet saddle. Pass is off again every time you power cycle the bike. It's a little bit annoying. Gotta hold the down arrow again. There we go. Now we've got pedal assist. There we go. Nice and easy. This is pedal assist level 1, so it's just kind of slow and steady. It's not going to get me going real fast. It's not offering full power. I'm going to take it up to level 3. Fenders are keeping me pretty dry. I'm going to do a no hands test here. It's a little less stable no hands because there's more weight up there in that basket, like we keep talking about. And by the way, this is designed to be highly water resistant. So even with the snow and kind of the melting going on, we should be okay. I'm gonna go up the hill now, so take it up to 5. We'll really feel it. This is a steep hill that we're climbing. Really steep. And it is no problem. And I feel fairly comfortable, even though I'm not getting full leg extension, because my seat's a little bit low. Very nice. Go through the snow here. Oh yeah. Now the other unique thing about this bike is you can adjust the top speed, and I think you can raise it. So on their website they say like 25 miles per hour. So you kind of get this like, almost like a class 3 electric bike. Most class 3s can go up to 28 miles per hour. 25 is still quite a bit. And it's a nice option, a nice little feature that they're giving you there. Okay guys, from here you can see the motor and the drivetrain. And it's going to be pretty quiet because we don't have a derailleur and there really isn't a lot of slack in that chain, but I wanted to position you here so you can just see how quickly that motor starts and stops with that cadence sensing pedal assist, and also just listen for any rattling with the fenders, maybe the rear rack. I think it's going pretty well though. Here we go. That was in assist level 3, kind of mellow. I'm going to take it up to assist level 5 now, see what that's like. Very quiet, even going off that curb. No problem. Let's get a different angle. Brakes are also pretty quiet, even though I'm sure they're at least a little bit damp. Pretty high quality stuff. Well guys, I think that's about it. I've had a blast on the Model M. I knew I wanted to get out in the snow and have some fun, and meeting the folks in the neighborhood is always a wonderful thing, and getting to hear their perspective. We mentioned Rad Power Bikes because they're a really popular brand. A lot of people get them. They've got good customer support, just like Electric Bike Company. These guys don't have like the outlets and the vans like Rad or like a shop bike, but I feel like the price range here, whether you get a really custom stylish one like this or you just get the white one, you know, there's some good value here, and the bikes are really done well, and they've really dialed in their batteries. They have some of the best sort of battery management systems that are designed to take care of these and extend the life, which again is nice since you can't really take the battery off the bike very easily in this case. You could get a his and hers, the high step model, along with one of these step-throughs. I think that's about it. I love you guys. Have fun out there. I'll do my best to answer your questions and comments, and we'll see you in the next one.